Hello, movie lovers everywhere. You're listening to We're Only Fans. I'm your host, Amanda Maldonado.
And I'm Flavia Souza.
And we're here to talk about the latest and greatest and new films. To kick us off, we're going to dive right into the Oscars that recently happened. So how are we feeling about the winners of each category, Flavia? Let's start with the Best Actor.
Wow.
He was certainly the star of the night.
Yes, we can say that.
Are you excited that he won?
Yes, I was happy that it was his first Oscar, so let's not take this away from this moment. So I was really happy to see him.
I was really wanting him to win because I know it's been a 30-year career now. So obviously he was somebody that I was already rooting for. Mm-hmm. I obviously am sad that it was a little overshadowed by, I guess you can say his own actions for the night. The slap. It put a little bit of a damper on his speech. It was more bittersweet than this great moment that we all were just so excited for him.
Yes.
Since we're talking about the slap, how did you feel watching that, seeing that scene?
First, I was surprised. I was like, what just happened?
Literally, yeah.
Was that a script thing? I was just confused.
Yeah.
As I think everybody was.
Definitely thought when I first saw it, I was like, is that real life?
Yeah.
Did that really happen, or was that a bit? I know that this is a very controversial topic. I kind of feel like it was a little justified. I don't think he should have smacked him at all.
No.
I don't think Chris Rock should have made the joke.
Also no.
I do think the punishment is way too harsh. 10 years is a ridiculous punishment for that.
Maybe skip a year but 10 years?
10 years, he's in the category now with people who have assaulted other people that are banned from the Oscars. I don't think that's the same level. There's directors in this category of people who have been banned that have harassed women, and they're still, they're banned now, but it took a lot to get them banned.
Yeah, and it just took a slap for him. So
only a slap after 30 years of a positive career is a little much. Was there anyone else you were super excited to see win, or anyone that you hoped had won that didn't win?
I was excited to see Ariana DeBose win.
I was very excited
so happy for her.
She was so adorable when she ran up there. She her first nomination and her first win. Very exciting. And she did amazing as Anita in West Side Story. I was super excited just for the representation. Troy Kotsur, I believe is how you pronounce his name, the first deaf man to win in the supporting actor role. And Coda took home a lot of wins, too.
Another movie that won a lot tonight, Dune.
Yes. I love Dune. I thought Dune was a great movie. It did win quite a bit.
Yes.
In categories that I think other things should have won, like the original score. Mm-hmm. I get it, but
yes. Why not?
Encanto should have won.
Yes. Why not Encanto?
At least we're on the same page there. Same thing with cinematography. Actually, no, cinematography. Dune was really good for that. There was just a lot of great nominations in the category.
If there was one nomination that they should have won, it was that one.
Yeah, there was a lot of great nominees for that one. Another one, costume design. I was upset to see that Cruella did not win costume design or makeup.
Makeup, yes.
Makeup.
It was makeup.
They won costume design. Yeah. I think Cruella should have brought home the trophy for costume and makeup.
Yes.
The makeup was phenomenal.
It's time to roll out the red carpet for our special guest, Mike Kuzenka, a professor here in Valencia in the film department.
Hello, Thank you for joining me today.
Absolutely.
What elements does a film need to have to be considered good, in your opinion?
A good movie essentially has, in my view, a hero, so some main character who's got some flaw, whether it's they're agoraphobic, they can't go outside, they have a fear of commitment, some really big flaw that kind of holds them back in life. Also that we can see that is going to cause them major problems. And then they have some goal that is worthwhile. Maybe they own a bar and they need to raise a certain amount of money, but the reason why they can't achieve that goal is because of this massive flaw. we really enjoy films when a character actually has to overcome something about themselves, have to overcome some great flaw in order to actually get what they want in life. And that's really what makes a great movie for me, is having a character that actually has to go through some level of change in order to achieve something at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that, like the classic hero story. And on the opposite spectrum of that, what do you think causes a movie to fail, whether that's in the box office or once it reaches streaming services or DVD?
So do you mean fail like
it just doesn't, it's not received well?
I mean, I think there are two different versions of that. Like, one version is what makes a movie not very good. And I think in that sense, it's a hero that doesn't have to overcome anything to achieve their goal. And then their goal really wasn't worthwhile in the end. Like, you know, you don't really see it as something you really cared about. You see this movie that, in a sense, you find isn't any good because the hero didn't have to overcome anything to achieve what they wanted. But for a movie that really doesn't find its audience, that's a lot more complicated in that it might be the wrong film at the wrong time. If I make a film today about a social issue that has kind of been resolved, but I'm just trying to tell that story again anyway, you're not really furthering the conversation. If you tell a story about something that, even though it's a historic event, but has a kind of a relatable message in the modern era, like today, we can see, you know, we can follow that. We can say, oh, I can see how that relates to today. That's why some period films are successful. But in reality, not all of those movies are successful either. Even though we can see that they're relevant, we may not necessarily want to see that movie at this point in time. The problem is finding a film that speaks to a broad audience in the time that they want to see it.
I could see what you mean there. Like Bridgerton, very popular Netflix show right now. There's a lot of modernness to it, even the music that they use. And it's kind of like, even though there's a lot of like historically inaccurate stuff, it still makes it appealing to watch for us.
Yeah, and it's, you know, so because Bridgerton has an appeal, I think, to people because of the age range, right? The folks that we're watching in that show represent the largest movie-going audience, really, or the TV-watching audience. It's 18 to 35-year-olds. Unfortunately, because of, you know, say ageism or something like that, if they'd have done that same story where everyone was over 50, you have a much more narrow group of people that would watch that show. So Bridgerton does it right. Essentially, they have love stories and drama and kind of the gossip and all of the intrigue and stuff of compelling drama and enjoyable drama.
Yeah, so they know how to appeal to their audience. So that's another thing that would be how to make a film good, is to know how to appeal to the audience that you're trying to reach.
Yeah, and so that's the other thing too, is like, if you want to make $1 billion, then you need to appeal to the largest, broadest range of audience there is. And in the film industry, you call it a 4-quadrant film, which is you appeal to men and women, boys and girls, essentially. You have both age ranges and both genders. You appeal to adults and kids alike, which is why Disney films and Marvel films, they appeal to such a large, broad age range that you can make $1 billion in the box office.
Do you think that the streaming industry is affecting the movie industry very heavily? Like, is it progressing or is it causing it to harm the film industry?
So what streaming has done in reality is it's created an insatiable appetite for content. So we can go to Netflix and you can find films that were in theaters. You can find older movies and things like that. You can, some of these older films from the 80s are coming to Netflix. But then they have a whole band of films that they've created, a band of television shows they've created. And it's not just Netflix, Amazon, Apple TV, Hulu. So essentially what these streaming services have done is they've created a massive appetite for content where before there were event movies where you'd watch regular television shows and then you couldn't wait till the summer when all the really big movies come out. That is happening every couple of days on a streaming service, you know, where every week there's 10 or 11 episodes of some different show that's coming out that you got to see. Television shows used to be small screen TV, but now when we watch television, they're much more in line with movies. So like The Mandalorian, you could put 2 or 3 of those episodes together. We might think of them as something that you could see in a movie theater because there's so much work put into making them theatrical. I think really what streaming services, in my opinion, have done is they've elevated television. They've helped to elevate television series. But it has had an impact on movies where people have decided, well, I can see great films on Netflix or Amazon as opposed to going to a movie theater. is the theatrical window has changed. Once some of these streaming services started making their own films, and once Disney decided, well, we can just do pay-per-view on Disney Plus, now that theatrical window has been narrowed to about 45 days for some films. And some of these major studios have negotiated that time down to 17 days. So a film can go out to a movie theater for 17 days and then be available on Netflix or Amazon, depending on who created the film, very quickly. So why go to a movie theater and spend $40 or something for you and a couple of friends to go see a movie when you can wait 17 days and watch it on HBO Max on your couch?
What makes a movie worthy of winning an Oscar?
I would say in part there are films that really kind of elevate storytelling. And so the example would be the film Coda, which I think is a great film and worthy of the Oscar it won. But there are no surprises in Coda. When you watch Coda, you kind of see everything coming. You know when this event happens, you're like, oh, okay, I know she's going to do something and her family's going to be mad at her. Oh, okay, here she's going to really like this boy and then something embarrassing is going to happen. Okay, I get it. But what makes Coda extraordinary is whose story it is. And it's a girl who lives in a family where the other three members of the family are deaf. And she is the only hearing person in this family. So now I'm seeing the story through the eyes of someone totally different. And then Coda has a couple of other areas where they really kind of set themselves apart and make it a pretty great film.
So even though the story is familiar, just seeing another layer of struggle added to it just makes it like a refresh to the story and a new perspective to tell it as that you would have never seen before.
That's exactly right. You get exposed to something that you may not have seen before, and it's pretty amazing.
What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie is a movie called Glory. It was released in 1989, I think. The director is Edward Zwick, but it stars Matthew Broderick and Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman and Andre Braugher, Carrie Eloise. And it's because it was just kind of at a time when I was in high school at the time, and I was excited about what I was going to do in life, and I wasn't 100% sure. And I was thinking about going to the Army, but I wasn't positive. And then I watched this movie, Glory, which is about the 54th Massachusetts Regiment, which is an all-black regiment in the Civil War. And so I'm watching this war movie at a time when I'm thinking about going in the Army. But at the same time, it's the first time I really was emotionally moved by how the music played and the character development and the choices that were made and how the film ends. So, sometimes the movie just comes to you at the right time, and that's really what it was for Glory. Glory just came to me at the right time, and it is and it probably always will be my favorite film.
Well, thank you for that, Mike. I appreciate you joining us again today.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Have a good day.
All right, thanks. You too.
We've been blessed with some thought-provoking and intriguing movies recently, and on the other hand, we've also had some cliché, predictable, and controversial films as well. So let's get right into it. Obviously, we have had a lot of great movies this year. Do you have any that were your favorite?
Probably Spider-Man No Way Home, just because I waited for this movie so long.
The obvious choice. It was like the number one movie of the past 2-3 years.
I know it's obvious, but I can't lie, it was my favorite.
It was my favorite too. It's actually the first film that I went back to the movies for. Actually, that is a lie. Wow, I went and saw Black Widow. I can't believe Black Widow was
That was
before.
my first, too.
Back in 2 years at the movie theaters. I loved Spider-Man No Way Home. I thought it was the best Spider-Man movie, everyone can come for me, that we've had.
Yes, I went 2 times to see it. Yeah.
I mean, we got all 3 Spider-Man, so no one can really complain if I say it's the best. It's like everyone gets what they want.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Spider-Man?
I do.
Who is your favorite Spider-Man?
It's Andrew Garfield.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Which one's your favorite?
Mine is Tom. And it took a while because I obviously grew up on Tobey Maguire. Mm-hmm. Love him. And I could not bring myself to watch any other Spider-Mans for a while.
Really?
The first ones just feel like home. Mm-hmm. When I started getting into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I was like, I get it. Tom Holland is a really good Spider-Man. He is young, carefree, fun, goofy, good. Like, he's just good. Like, he radiates goodness.
I get it. I love him, too. I think I have, like, an attachment to Andrew.
I get it. I love Andrew.
Yes.
He did deserve a third one. Maybe we'll get to see that.
Do you think we'll get a third one?
I think we will. I think we will now after seeing the love he got. If not, I definitely think we are going to see Andrew again in some kind of Spider-Man themed movie.
I hope so.
He can't be in it without being Spider-Man, so I think we'll get it. I will say my second favorite Marvel movie of Phase 4, just this phase, was Shang-Chi.
Yes.
I loved it.
Yes. So good.
I would say that if we're not doing the shows, Shang-Chi was definitely second, right after No Way Home. Cinematography was beautiful.
The visual effects?
The visual effects. My favorite scene was when Shang-Chi is training with his aunt at Tullo Village, where his mom's from. I was like floored by the choreography and their movement with the fighting is when I was finally like, this is a really good movie. Blown away by that. Did you have anything you wanted to add for Shang-Chi?
I have. But we would like go back to the Oscars with this one.
Okay.
I get why Dune won with the visual effects. Yeah. I get it. Shang-Chi
was...
Yes.
I agree. I definitely agree
forgot
with that.
about this when we were talking about the Oscars. And also because the Oscars don't usually like to include this superhero movie. So
the only way that we could even win an Oscar as a superhero fan is if you're in like a visual effects category. Because there's something about it. It's just not prestigious enough, I guess. Eternals. Yeah.
What did you think of this one?
I liked it. I don't understand the hate.
Yes. I think, well, I understand why some people didn't like it. It is a little bit slow.
It does. It's. I feel like it's also a little darker. Like, most Marvel films are more light. Like, the vision of it is more colorful.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that.
No. I did notice, but I didn't think that would be a reason. I think maybe why people didn't like it, it's because, I mean, it's a new addition to the Marvel universe. And it can be a little bit confusing, like, there are those creatures that didn't help, and they could maybe have... maybe they could have, they didn't. So I think people were just confused.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they have interfered when Thanos was going to snap most of
since
the population away?
He's basically one of them, like Thanos.
Yeah.
He's half and half,
Thanos is the brother of Eros. Yes. That's in the last scene. So yeah, they're both Eternals. Which is why it's like, why wouldn't they have, in my mind, because of their mission there in the beginning, have helped stop Thanos? Because the planet, the god that's inside the planet needs the population, like all of our consciousness to emerge. So why wouldn't they have stopped Thanos from zapping most of the population if their goal there was to make sure the population kept growing? That was confusing.
And I think a lot of people maybe got this as a plot hole. So I think maybe that's the reason people didn't like it.
Also, comic fans will always, when you're introducing new characters and they already know the characters from the comics, they're gonna rip it apart.
Yeah, they'll be like, no.
Right.
That's how it should be.
I think that is a big reason it wasn't received well, is because of the people who already knew the characters.
And also just overall, the movie format is nothing like what we're used to in the Marvel universe, which I don't think it's a bad thing.
Another great one, Cruella.
I love this movie so much.
It's about a year old now. It's getting there. Emma Stone, when she did her monologue, I don't even remember how long it was, but that was another moment in my life that I realized how much I love movies and good acting.
She's just amazing.
She could have won an Oscar for that performance.
She could. She was not even nominated.
I don't think she was nominated at all.
No.
Why is it?
Is it because it's a Disney movie?
I wouldn't think so, because Disney was nominated in a lot of other categories, but maybe that has to do with the reason that her role wasn't taken as seriously.
Maybe. I would think it was because of that.
But that one was another one. Costume design, beautiful. I would say cinematography was great. The visual effects were pretty good.
It was.
And she was stunning.
It was amazing. That's all.
Have you seen Encanto?
Yes.
How'd you like it?
I love it.
Encanto was one of my favorite Disney movies since Moana. There's something about having just a cultural Disney animated film that it always will feel so wholesome. With Encanto, something that I really liked that it touched on was the generational trauma and the healing, because a lot of people got really stuck on how mean Abuela was to everyone, but I don't think they got stuck on the fact that she was also in a lot of pain and is changing, is healing. It wants to heal that generational trauma. I think that's something she realized at the end, that her kids didn't need to be powerful or to help the community or to always give back to have their miracle. So I really liked that. And I also liked the migrant perspective that was put into a Disney film where people can understand it and maybe...
Hopefully they will understand.
Understand when your home gets invaded and you have to run from it and seek safety, that is a very human thing and we should be compassionate towards that.
Yeah.
So seeing that made me sob watching that last clip where they finally explain the full story, just in tears.
That's a really good point. That I think I love everything that Lin-Manuel Miranda does.
I love him.
He's a genius.
I've often said I wish I can sit in his mind sometimes.
Yes.
Like the way he words things.
He's a genius.
He is a genius.
I love him.
He's my weird celebrity crush. One of my friends
yes.
were like, do you have somebody that, like a celebrity you really like that's just strange and out there? And I'm like, yeah, Lin-Manuel. What do you mean? I love him. Completely off topic from Encanto and Moana because he wrote both of them. I love Anthony Ramos, even though he's hurt my heart a little bit recently.
Yes, I know.
He is another great one, which I didn't even include on this list, but this is within the last year.
In the Heights?
In the Heights.
Yes, I love this movie.
In the Heights was so good.
Oh my gosh.
I loved all the representation.
Yes.
I love New York, and I love Anthony Ramos. Guilty as charged. We're on to musicals now.
Yes.
Have you watched the new West Side Story?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yes, did.
What did you think?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
I actually don't remember anything about the original, so I didn't have the comparison to say oh, that was the best one. But you did, right? So you can tell us. Yeah,
I grew up on West Side Story. I actually remember the first time I came home from school and my dad was making rice and beans. So the house just smelled like Spanish food walking in, and he had West Side Story on it, and I had to be probably 5. So I grew up on this movie. I really love West Side Story. I definitely love the new one. I was not expecting it to be what it was. So before I watched it, I had seen a lot of reviews with people saying they thought it was better than the original West Side Story. So I kind of went into it with an edge because I was like, you can't say that to me. I have to see what it is all about, but I love the original West Side Story. Immediately, choreography, stunning. Right in the beginning, I was like, oh no, that's going to give the original West Side Story a run for its money, and I'm going to have to eat my words. I think it was more real about the aspect of what Puerto Ricans went through when they came to New York in this version. It was more about the nitty and gritty, how they were discriminated against by cops, by people in the neighborhood. They just weren't welcomed, often being told, speak English. And I think that was kind of something that was expressed lightly in the movie. Tony could have been better.
As I said, I don't have the comparison because I don't remember the original one. But I get what you're saying about Tony.
It was better than I was expecting. I still don't think I am crazy about him as a person, just from allegations we've heard. And there was one scene where Tony's supposed to cry, and I just couldn't help but laugh because his face was scrunched up in pain, but he couldn't bring tears. I was like, Tony, cry! I'm gonna come pinch you.
Yeah, I was very do I like him in this role?
Yeah.
I was just confused.
He did really good at Something's Coming. His first song, I was pretty impressed. That was the one moment where I was like, oh, gonna have to eat my words again. Maria, blanking.
Rachel Zegler.
Rachel Zegler. Yes, she did beautiful.
Yes.
She has a really good voice. I think she made a really good Maria. I was impressed by her. Ariana, beautiful, wonderful. She really did great. I would say that her and Rita Moreno, the original Anita, were both stunning, and I don't need to compare them because they brought their own, and it was amazing to see. Mike Faced.
He was amazing.
He is sexy. I did not like Riff growing up, and I struggled this whole movie with how much I was liking Riff.
I mean, Mike is just amazing.
This was my introduction to him. I had never seen him in anything before.
I think I have seen him in something before.
There is something that I did want to talk about the comparison from the original motion picture of West Side Story in 1961. There was a lyrics in the original screenplay of West Side Story talking about Puerto Rico. The original lyrics is quoted, "Puerto Rico, you ugly island full of tropic diseases." And Rita Moreno, the original Anita, she almost threatened to quit over this one line because she felt like it disparaged Puerto Rico. And the reason people were moving from Puerto Rico then was for better opportunities. Mm-hmm. So to say the island was ugly felt like it was just going against herself.
Sure.
And they changed the lyrics. And it's the lyrics that most of us know that I love, which is, "Puerto Rico, my heart's devotion, let it sink back in the ocean." They changed it in the modern one back to the original "You Ugly Island," and it hurt me.
And it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I don't understand. I think that's one modification we could have stuck with.
Yes. And if you think about it, people were already used to the original song.
Yeah. I never knew that the original lyrics from the screenplay was "You Ugly Island," because I grew up my whole life singing, like, "My heart's devotion," like, and then
Sure.
watching the new movie, I had to pause it for quite a bit and
So
scream.
why change to the original?
We have to ask Steven Spielberg that.
Yes, that's...
Does he not like us?
First of all, that's confusing for the audience.
Yeah.
Because imagine yourself, you're a fan, and you're, like, singing along in the movie, and then they just changed the lyrics.
That's what happened to me. America was my favorite song in the original because they have the dances and they're dancing on the rooftop and it's a great time.
Yes.
And I would always be like, if I had the singing ability to do one performance, I would have to do Anita in America. Mm-hmm. And so when I went to go start singing along and then it changed it, I stopped and I rewinded it and then I came back and I paused it and I just started like yelling at my boyfriend over it because I was so mad. Well, thank you for speaking with me today, Flavia. I hope that you enjoyed our conversation.
I did enjoy.
All right. And thank you to the audience for tuning in to We're Only Fans. I am your host again, Amanda Maldonado, and I'm here with
Flavia Souza.
It has been a pleasure to share in our love for the cinematic world with you all. I hope you go enjoy a movie tonight because I know we both certainly will.